Today, the Velshi and Rule tax cut tracker is back, and we're looking at how companies are spending their massive Trump tax cut. When Republicans slashed the corporate tax rate from 35 down to 21%, President Trump promised the tax savings would trickle down to American workers, a promise repeated over and over again, including by Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Well, now some companies have offered one-time pay bonuses to their workers since the new tax law was enacted. But when you look closer at the numbers, many of those companies also announced thousands of layoffs and no raises right as they spent billions and billions of dollars to finance huge stock buybacks which serve shareholders. For example, Walmart announced a $20 billion buyback program in September, just days after the Republicans introduced their tax plan outline. And when the tax plan became law in January, Walmart received praise when it announced $1,000 bonuses for some of their employees and increased entry-level pay to $11 an hour. But it then quietly laid off almost 10,000 workers after announcing it was closing 63 Sam's Club stores.
The same day.
Same day. Meanwhile, AT&T announced $20 billion in stock buybacks over the next 2 years after receiving praise for offering $1,000 bonuses to some of its employees. But then AT&T turned around and laid off 1,600 employees across the country. How about Wells Fargo, which announced plans to buy back nearly $19 billion of its own stock? Also announced plans to close more than 800 bank branches over the next 2 years, even as it admits to making out big from the new tax law. How about Qualcomm? Also announced a new $10 billion buyback program on May 9th. This came after the company fired more than 1,500 people across California and an undisclosed number of people across the United States. In fact, stock repurchases, these are buybacks for the S&P 500, hit an all-time high of 189, wait for it, billion bucks in the first 3 months of 2018. So far, Trump tax cuts for companies is barely trickling down to the American worker. Instead, it is lining the pockets of shareholders. And Allie, you could say, well, lots of employees, they own stock. Not people in the middle and the bottom.
Well,
and when you give
fewer than one half of all Americans own stock, and most of them are very passive investors. Half of Americans, those 100% of whom work for a living, don't.
And giving that one-time bonus, that's a kiss you get once.
It doesn't raise your base. It doesn't raise your base pay. You don't have to get that the second year. You don't get 3% or 2% on top of that. Bonuses are sleight of hand. I never want to, and a lot of people tweet us and say, I'm very happy to have my $1,000 bonus. I'm glad you got your $1,000 bonus. I'm really happy for you. What would have been better would be a raise equal to $1,000 so that the next year you've already got that, and then your base salary increases on top of it. Bonuses are, as you said,
a bit of a head fake. And wage increases, that is what would help us across the board. That is where people are suffering. So when the president says trickle-down economics are going to work, we're letting you know we're not yet seeing it trickle down. And those companies are spending their money on tax
stock buybacks. I was at a wedding the other day, and somebody said to me, you guys are really unfair to President Trump. I mean, you just won't talk about how great this tax cut has been. It's increasing the deficit, it's lining the pockets of shareholders, and it is not actually resulting in higher wages or lower taxes for working Americans.
Okay, but that person you were talking to at the wedding owns a lot of stock.
Oh, yeah.
And they're looking at their stock portfolio or their 401k.
And they're very happy.
And they're saying, bring it on.
In their world, they're right.
But they were also happy over the last 8 years when the stock market went up. The Trump voter was
That was Donald Trump, though. That's why
Stop.
The stock market went up because of Donald Trump.
It
Even
didn't.
during Obama's era, they knew that Donald Trump would be the next president, which is why stocks were going up for 9 years.
That forgotten American, the Trump voter, was born out of not having wage increases or participating in the stock market.
Yep.
That voter has not had any of their situation resolved.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.